Australia Cup round of 32 is in Darwin for Darwin Hearts, making their competition debut against a 6-time Cup veteran in Hume City of NPL Victoria. Good evening from Larrakia Park. Teams making their way down to the tunnel. You can see it's a warm one in the top end. Teo Pellizzeri and Andy Harper with you for this contest. And the crowd is rolling in to the one and only showcase venue for football in the Northern Territory. And they'll be hoping that their cup holders, Darwin Hearts, this amazing story, a team that grew out of the Nepalese community, 5,000 strong in Darwin, now a multicultural club with strong Nepalese connections, can pull off what would have to be considered an upset if they were to beat Hume City. The Northern Territory qualifier has only ever come from Darwin. We've never seen an Alice Springs representative. There's the Nepalese flag, just to add to the flavour. But they've never won a round of 32 match, and NPL opposition has got hold of them in the past whenever the qualifier from the top end has taken on Victoria. So maybe Hume City, sitting fourth in NPL Victoria, could be a little vulnerable tonight. As I mentioned, it's their 6th trip to the national rounds, and a case where they have been as far as the semi-final back in 2015. Pretty much the only thing they haven't done in this competition is knock off an A-League team. Today they play an opponent perhaps at the far end of the scale. But as you can see, they're in their white kits tonight. Darwin Hearts are very much getting into that Nepalese theme with their kit, the red, white and blue. And we're not far away from both teams making their way out onto this venue. A venue that, Andy Harper, you got to watch a couple of A-League teams go around on last week. How do you think the surface will play, and what do you expect from this match in prospect?
Yeah, g'day, Taylor. The surface will be great, and you can just see there through the back of the grandstand, light breeze blowing, which will be nice to take a little bit of the edge off the humidity. But the beautiful sunset as a backdrop. It was just quite spectacular, breathtaking, in fact. Teo, and we had a couple of good games last week, the A-League teams going in that knockout series to try and find, or to successfully find the 2 entrants to the round of 32. And just, I think, around the country, a lot of goodwill for both teams, but with the greatest of respect to the wonderful Hume City. I think most romantic notions are going with the exotic debutantes.
So under these crimson skies, both teams make their way out onto the pitch. Hume City, of course, a club steeped in Turkish heritage themselves. And there is the Darwin Hearts team, led by their captain, Sushil Shah. And so, will home ground be any sort of an advantage? Avondale, the Victoria, has gone up to the top end and won convincingly at this very venue, Larrakia Park. Will Hume City be able to do something similar here? Or will Darwin Hearts post a landmark first win for the Northern Territory in the national rounds of the Australia Cup? Let's take a look at this Darwin Hearts team. As you can see from their lineup, the Nepalese connection is prevalent with the Shresh, the name. Not necessarily relatives. There are many Shreshthas in Darwin, very many. Sulav Maski, the number 10, is the man to watch. He scored against Western Sydney Wanderers in the Australia Cup back in 2019. His quality is well documented. And the number 14, Sakir Esborn, known as Prince tonight. And he will be hoping for a regal performance leading the line for this Darwin Hearts team. Hume City's team is stocked with former A-League talent, most recently Michael Weir, who was on the books of the Newcastle Jets. But Mark Otching, Harry Ashcroft, also Josh Bingham, all have pedigree in that competition. Lloyd Isgrove has 1 cap for the Welsh national team. Mikael Platt, also experienced in lower league football in England. Lachlan Weir, the number 4, is the brother of Michael, so there is a family connection within this Hume City team. There's the Darwin Hearts bench. They are coached by Martinho Suarez, and all of that coaching staff. He's in the white cap, Mr. Suarez, the gaffer, so watch out for him giving instructions throughout the course of the night. I think he's looking for his opposite number for a handshake right now, and that would be David Chick, who is shaking his hand there with the man bun. And his assistant there, Craig Filer, another Welshman. And so David Chick in his second stint at Hume City, Craig Filer joining him. Not just a veteran coach of the NPL Victoria scene, but you might have heard his commentary on a lot of the NPL streams as well. Tonight's officiating crew will be led by A-League Women's stalwart Rebecca Durkow. Assistants on the near side will be Hao Ming Lee, and on the far side will be Tim Lay. Fourth official is Nasir Jumun. So some of the local Northern Territory referees getting an opportunity, and Rebecca Durkow has the whistle. Look at that sunset. It is an amazing hue. It will continue to go through the various shades of red through the course of the night, and couldn't imagine a better setting. It is warm though, and Hume City coming out of a Melbourne winter half, so it'll be a bit of a shock to them. Maybe keeping the tempo high and also pacing their run, maybe a focus of the first 10 or 15 minutes.
Well, Tao, it certainly was a point of discussion last week with the A-League teams, most of whom coming out of the southeast of Australia. Perth, of course, the southwest, but it's still been cold in the southwest. There was a really cold winter in the southeast of Australia. So it was a real culture shock, weather shock, climate shock for the players with not a lot of time to acclimatise. And they did speak of that, but all four football organisations last week spoke of that. So that's one of the challenges for Hume City, most certainly. And difficult flight as well. You know, you get in really early in the morning, like wee hours of the morning. So the sleep patterns are disrupted, the body clock and the body rhythms go through a little bit of an assault. It is lessened by the wonder of that scene. I mean, it's breathtaking. What a sight for football at the Australia Cup. Just gorgeous.
And so Hume City will kick off attacking the right of your screens. It's their 6th trip to the national rounds, and they've only ever gone out in the round of 32 once. Normally when they qualify for this stage, they do win, Hume City. And you can hear the excitement at kickoff for Darwin Hearts. Can one of the great fairy tale stories of the Australia Cup take a big step in its next chapter here tonight? This is Prince getting his first touch of the ball, and is seized upon by the Hume City defence almost immediately. And they will look to just get a feel for the surface and the conditions and the ball. Lockie Weir, the brother of Michael, will be standing at left back tonight. Intercept here by Angel Giri, but possession is short-lived, and Amir Abdallah now has the ball for Hume City. Plays it back to Mark Ochieng, scorer of a spectacular goal of his own in the national rounds back in 2021, wearing the colours of Hume City. And now a brief test for the centre-backs of Darwin Hunt. They're going to give themselves grief giving the ball away in that position, right on the edge of their attacking third. You can see it's all hands on deck behind the ball at the moment, and some no-nonsense defending draws a big cheer as Yaru Silwal boots it away.
Well, in Australia Cup terms, Teo, I guess Darwin Hearts are the newest incarnation of the wonderful migration story from various communities that make up Australia, and how football was their touchstone when they first arrived. And certainly in a very truncated sense, Darwin Hearts is the latest to tell that story. 2010, the club was born. Really, the Nepalese community in Darwin, only of any note, started around about the same time, and here they are just this small number of years later, having gone through setting up a kit for clubs and then starting women's teams and building the capacity to get into the local Premier League, and now where they sit second in that and represent Northern Territory in the Cup. It's a great story, and reflective of many such stories right around Australia.
Yeah, and for them to win the Cup, they had to close a significant gap. They had to get promoted into the top flight and then establish teams like Olympic and Hellenic, Uni Atsuri, and Darwin really have ruled the roost along with the Mindel Aces, the current defending champions. And it is interesting that for all the great league performances the Mindel Aces have had, grand finals, top spot finishes, they aren't regulars in the Australia Cup. It's a tough little competition to win. And when you get through all the teams in Darwin, you've got to go and play the champions from Alice Springs just to punch your ticket to the national rounds. Here is Hume City on the ball with Josh O'Kane.
Well, they had to beat Darwin Olympic 3-1 in their semi-final. A club with wonderful history itself, but the powerhouse of N2 football, and to beat them 3-1 knockout semi was a big result for them.
Lunging header from Josh Bingham there. He was coming in third man to the ball, but nearly willed it goalward, and now a chance to counter-attack. Here goes Prince. He's 1-on-3, all alone against the Hume City defence, and Mark Ochieng, well, he refereed himself there. He put his arms on the ball as he fell to ground, but the referee did eventually agree that he was fouled and had his ankles tapped.
Well, an encouraging foray for Prince out of Burundi. And they're quite lively in their front line. Prince, we're seeing now, just couldn't quite get rid of the muscular Mark Ochieng, of whom we've seen plenty, although not on the national stage for some time, but enough all those years ago to realise he's got plenty to offer. And the player to which you've already referred, Sunil, the number 9, and Sulav, the number 10, creative midfielder. They're quite punchy across their front line. It's a matter of how well they can hold out against, you know, the really gnarly, battle-hardened visitors from Hume City.
This is Sulav Maski. He was trying to free his left foot. He was shut down almost immediately by Amir Abdallah, who knew exactly what he was going to try. Move it quicker. You hear the shout from the sideline. So ball speed a priority for Hume, and that's exactly what they're trying here. Bingham nearly away. A little instep flick didn't quite come off, and now Hearts have an opportunity to build, but turning and going backwards was Rishi Magar, and that's just invited pressure on as Darwin Hearts find themselves trapped down in their right back corner, and Mikael Platt takes over possession. He is a battering ram of a target man, Mikael Platt. Not prolific in the goal scoring for Hume City this season, but certainly important to the function of the team. Here he is back to goal once again. Now ball clipped over the top. Promising first touch. Defensive header, a shallow one. It invites a little bit of panic. And eventually Darwin Hearts do scuff it away.
Well, as the red in the sky deepens, so too does the Darwin Hearts back line. And it's going to be one of those nights for them. How resolute can they be? And then maybe find something on the counter-attack.
And Prince has got to go and do it all on his own yet again, but on this occasion he can't win the header to his own advantage. A little bit of ball control there from Yadu Silwal. Just slowly being pinned back here. Darwin Hearts in possession, but by no means in control. And now Hume drop off and give a bit of breathing space. And a promising foray out to the left. Angel Giri. Pass intercepted, and then just a little bit too much physicality on Oscar Carlson, gives away a foul.
A nice bit of settled play from Darwin. Showing, as we've seen at international level with the Socceroos, that the Nepalese players are very capable with the ball in close.
Amir Abdallah took on a couple, but one too many. Ball distributed out to the left. Lockie Weir. Underlapping run from Bingham. Tried for the return pass. Not able to connect with Weir. And now there's a potential gap to exploit. Hearts only short-lived in possession, though. So now Hume will look to work the left flank once again. Bingham running in the central left channel is ignored here. Platt's the target, but it's an underhit pass. Headed away from the top of the 6-yard box. Darwin Hearts can't be too casual here, and they perhaps underestimated the closing speed of Hume City there, and Niroy Shrestha has no choice but to turn and boot the ball out to safety. Carlson. Now Isgrove, the magic man of not just Hume City but NPL Victoria. Give him a rap and he coughs up possession, but don't take my word for it. His highlight reel this season has been spectacular. He'll be lurking with intent in that attacking third of the pitch. The press got a little bit more aggressive there. Prince, no support from his teammates whatsoever, and so Hume City can consolidate possession. Josh O'Kane. Now Mark Ochieng, first time ball, tries to change the speed of the attack. Amir Abdallah, back to Mark Ochieng. Swings the cross in, Mikel Platt's there for the header, and it goes across the face. He was able to outmuscle his opponent, but not much more than that.
Well, nice play from Hume City this time down the right. They've been pretty measured in their attack so far. And some light feet from Amir Abdallah. Lovely ball in from Ochieng, and a good chance at the far post. First real sighted goal for Hume City. You'd expect the first of many. And indeed, well, I'm not sure if this would be a view shared inside the Darwin Hearts dressing room, Teo, but very clearly the feeling around the club is that our best chance is to hang on and win it in penalties. Well, that 2 hours of hanging on is a long time. 110
more minutes if that's the plan. I think Prince has other plans. He's waiting in the middle here. Will the cross meet him? Listen to the screams of the crowd in excitement. They want a handball. They want a decision going their way. Rebecca Durcow is pointing out to the corner, but Hearts are asking for a lot more after that deflected shot here.
Well, this is a sign of just, I used the word punchy before, but they've got a really, really nice attacking combination. And they work their way with good pace, lovely technique, good touch, and it's clearly a handball saved by non-VAR, I would say.
Wow. Well, the assistant referee on the near side had a pretty good view as well. Rebecca Durcow has spent a number of seasons in the A-League Women's, so no stranger to the national stage.
Well, I probably shouldn't be so definitive in that because it can still be such a grey area, but the hands away from the body and up, if that's not a handball in VAR matches, I've not seen one.
100% it's a penalty, and Hume got away with one, I reckon, but there is no VAR, and if nothing else, it's got the crowd really invested here, and after a bit of attention, Sunil Shrestha is back on his feet. You can see that Darwin Hearts have taken it in their stride. They're going to get back to business here and try to capitalise on the first corner kick of the game. It's an outswinger, and it's emphatically headed away. Harry Ashcroft, vastly experienced NPL player after his stint at the Central Coast Mariners, manning the centre of defence for Hume City, having previously played for Dandenong Thunder on the opposite side of Melbourne, so he's taken a liking to that competition after his time with the Mariners came to an end.
He's had a great and varied career, Harry Ashcroft, starting off at Sydney University Football Club and taking in stints in Ireland and Malta.
Now that is a willing challenge in midfield from Rishi Magar. He's absolutely gone in with a bit of venom. We were speculating pre-game about crunching tackles versus nice moments of skill. We got both. Amir Abdallah did the Cruyff turn and then got ironed out for his trouble.
Yeah, well, this isn't going to come up too well on much closer replay scrutiny. The tackle from Rishi looked to me like he left the ground with both feet leading. You're always putting yourself in trouble, and more importantly, you're putting your opponent potentially in some trouble. That players go back to their feet. It's been a good start to this match.
Just a foul, no booking, so clean bill of health and discipline for both teams as Amir Abdallah was able to dust himself off and get back up.
And they're expecting a couple of thousand at Larrakia Park tonight, the third largest migrant community in Darwin. is the Nepalese community. Football mad, of course.
And now Maskey with the through ball. Assistant referee raised the flag even though Michael Weir was sharply out of his line. And Michael Weir finds himself in an interesting situation. Halves, he's been on the books of the Newcastle Jets for a couple of years. Now he's back in the NPL. Maybe still dreaming of cracking back into the professional game, but it's a thankless task sometimes being a goalkeeper.
It is. Well, the advantage as a goalkeeper is you've got longevity that field players perhaps can't attest to, but it's significantly mitigated against by the lack of opportunities for goalkeepers. But he's shown plenty, Michael Weir. I mean, clearly Hume City have got a good goalkeeper on their hands, and his A-League highlights reel, if there is one, would be very impressive. Some memorable games.
Ultimately found himself in competition with another Victorian, Ryan Scott, who was able to claim the #1 gloves last summer and hold on to them. The new gaffer, Rob Stanton. So you move on quickly in football. Michael Weir back wearing the colours of Hume City. Hume looking to probe the left here. I don't like what they see. Darwin Hart's 2 blocks of 4 sitting deep at the moment, but there might be a neat 1-2 to unlock them here, and good stand-up defending. Was able to repel initially. Second time ball, Platt will rise, and the goalkeeper Josh Benucci's not the tallest goalkeeper. Mikael Platt certainly got a good head on him, but being able to rise the arms up there and take the ball away.
Yeah, nice clean take from the keeper. They've played without fear so far, Darwin, and more measured, you'd say, from Hume, who you'd have to think of believing that over the longer course of the journey they will just be too good, making sure that they don't cough up any chances early on and find themselves having to panic later.
I think the encouraging sign for Darwin Harts is they can counter at speed. It's not merely going to be sitting back and holding on. However, going 1-0 down might change that story as the ball is over from Platt. He freed his feet and the shot just kept rising.
Yeah, very handy. I mean, he's a big unit. He's an imposing figure. He's had one chance with a header, and now with his back to goal, showed some really nice feet to make the space and shoot on the turn. It was not far at all.
He was in the youth system at QPR, and his various stops on the English non-league system include Hartley, Bracknell, Uxbridge and Slough. So he certainly got a decent old tour of out of London before deciding that Australia was the place to be.
Sounds like a Thomas the Tank route.
My parents will appreciate that reference, given they probably watched as much of it as I did when I was growing up, Harps. Here comes Bingham now, and he's fouled right at the edge of the box. Amir Abdallah wanted the little sideways pass to come his way at the edge of the area, but Bingham just kept glued to his feet. And this is a free kick in Lloyd Isgrove territory, very much so. Yeah,
gliding past nicely, Josh Bingham there to make the space, and then dragging the attention of Thomas Vuli, Fijian national. Bingham out of Shell Harbour, New South Wales.
And so the diminutive keeper, Josh Benucci, has to set his wall to perfection here. I'm sure he's done the homework on what the Welsh wizard Lloyd Isgrove is capable of. They're going to have the sleeper lying at the feet of this extraordinary wall. What is it? 6, 7 players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 slips and 2 gullies, and the sleeper lying underneath them at ground level here. They've just absolutely packed the penalty area. I finally had it explained to me that callers are referring to it as the draft excluder. I finally understood what it meant. I thought they were all draft dodgers. Talking about some... Amir Abdallah is going to hit it left-footed and put it on the roof of the net. Isgrove was merely a decoy. They liked the left-footed shooter instead, but Abdallah can't keep it down. Edging closer, Hume City. Darwin Hart's resistance yet to be broken. That had a lot of promise. Off the boot. So Minucci goes for distance and gets plenty. All it takes is one flick header or one clever pass, and Darwin Harts might be away in an attacking sense, but Isgrove is going to just get it forward at all costs, see for Mikael Platt to go to work, and he's outpointed by Nero Schresch, though, with some good one-on-one defending. Now the ball is there to be won in midfield. Platt. Harts come away with the ball. Giddy. Decision time. Hume hunting the ball here. You see possession. 2/3 in their favour. A little bit of cool skill, though, coming in from Giddy. And the thing I love about the crowd is every nice touch, sidestep, little spin on the ball, they see it, they love it.
Well, the fans have a relationship with the ball, and they enjoy watching the players, who clearly have a very good relationship with the ball.
Free kick taken quickly here. Haven't seen much of Sunil Schresch since that handball shout earlier in the half. He's not able to win his team a corner here, though. There is that freedom, that expression, you know, a team that you've just got license to try stuff, and when you play against a highly structured opponent, they can catch them out.
Well, that's certainly the case. The varying football cultures around the world and the ball's place in that culture, you know, varies right around the spectrum of the whole comparison. That you just can see with these players, a large number of whom out of the Nepalese migrant community, that the ball is the centre of everything.
Ball over the top here, just slightly overhit from Yadu Silwal, and Michael Weir is able to claim on one bounce. But again, decent little spell of a minute or so from Darwin Harts. How long can they sustain it for before Hume City resume their 2/3 domination of possession?
And just to clear up that point, you know, there's varying descriptors to reinforce what I'm saying. And for some football cultures, it's the science of football which is at the centre of it. The tactics is at the centre of it, etc., etc., etc. But there's plenty of countries, and you pick them a mile off.
Bingham didn't take possession until right against the byline. Ochieng. And that's excellent one-on-one defending to stand him up there from Vuli Vuli and see it out for a goal kick. I think, but you need a very educated crowd to know that someone's going to try a dribble, a sidestep, a little flicker, a trick, because those are the waves they are riding. They cheer
Yeah.
like it's a goal.
Yeah. And that's not to minimise the importance of it, but far from it, in fact. But you know, it's the high point of their football week when people can get in touch with the ball and do something with it. It resonates, and then those moments link together, and they have their pattern of play.
Prince left floored here. Didn't appear to be much by way of foul or even rough play by Hume there, and so perhaps he's just already starting to feel the pinch after 20 minutes of fighting effectively solo against Hume's back four.
And we should, whilst the game is still deadly even and very competitive,
Got to play it down. I think it might be Lockie Weir here who's down for Hume.
And we hope that's the case for a long period. But just reflecting upon the Darwin Harts aim for tonight, the best plan to get through to the next round is to take it all the way to penalties. It does raise the spectre when that's mentioned of penalties directly at 90 minutes, which you've just seen in the Copa America that's gone. So it wouldn't be a unique thing for the Australia Cup to embrace. And Taya, your view, I'll play interviewer now, your view on this, because it does increase the chances of a team, say Darwin Harts, to survive and get that extra story of glory.
Put it this way: if you were asking me at the 89-minute mark of the O'Connor Knights game in 4-degree weather tonight, I think I'd probably agree with you, Harps.
Yeah.
I guess the Australia Cup's given us. Lloyd Isgrove is the man who's down here, and his night, is it over? The number 7, he appears to be walking to the bench here, and this could be a huge fillip for Darwin Harts and a major blow for Hume City. Lloyd Isgrove is taking his shirt off. His night is over after just 23 minutes. And so we'll get the name of the player that's come on here for Hume City, but there's Isgrove with the shirt off, and that is a huge blow for Hume City. But to answer your question, I definitely think there's merit to it. maybe, I mean, my dream for the Australia Cup is national round of 64.
Well, I think that'll happen before penalties after 90.
After 90 minutes, but no, I think there's definitely merit to it. Here's Platt trying to make amends, and it's another chance that goes begging. But just to close off on that discussion, definitely one to put in the suggestions pile, but let's assess the injury here to Lloyd Isgrove. Hume City have been creating. He hasn't necessarily been central to it. Amir Abdallah's probably done a lot more of the heavy lifting, but it's still a blow to lose him this early in the night.
Well, based on your views on him, very well expressed, and you don't want to lose your good attacking players at any moment, and he does carry that load. I was looking forward to seeing him in full flight here, to be honest, based on the reputation that's gone before, but that's been denied us, and now Hume lose one of their more expected attacking outlets. Someone else can step into the breach. Amir Abdallah has been certainly the one to steal that limelight so far anyway.
The number 10, Josh Gulevsky, is the player that's come on. You can see confirmation on your screen now of the substitution for Hume City. So Isgrove off. Darwin Hart's on the attack, albeit briefly, as the ball goes out for a goal kick. And it's taken very quickly here by Michael Weir, almost like he's trying to buy a yellow card off the referee. Prince protests his innocence. Rebecca Durkow. Oh, a quick word, and now the ball is back live. So bygones, Hume City are away. Mikael Platt off chasing once again, but if anything, the Darwin Hart's defence is starting to get a little bit more confident, tracking his runs and his movement, and Sushil Shah is able to get a deflection off him here.
Yeah, Sushil Shah, the skipper, and he has a big job to do, along with Vuli Vuli up against. They're very, very difficult, very, very physical. Mikael Platt, he's already shown his potential danger. But you'd have to say, 25 minutes in, Darwin Harts have ridden the wave and are sitting quite nicely. The big question still remains, for how long can they hold out? They would, as a group, never have played at the intensity that Hume can rise to, as and when needed.
Think back to 2 seasons ago in the Australia Cup at this very venue. Avondale from NPL Victoria came up and defeated the Mindel Aces, who are the defending champions in the Football Northern Territory Norzone Premier Division. 6-0. Really got hold of them that night. Liam Boland, who's now playing for Kingsway Olympic in this very round of 32, was playing for Avondale that night, really the king of the cup, adding to his legacy with more goals. Here's an attempted cross from the new man, Gulevsky, and he's not able to find a teammate with the ball. Another cross from the left side, and you heard the thwack as Lockie Weir put it into his marker. See, the final third entry is very much reflective of Hume's dominance, almost 4 times the number of that of Darwin Hart's. Ball allowed to bounce in the 6-yard box. This could be dangerous here. Platt takes a deflection off his shins, and Minucci gratefully collapses onto the ball. The player down here looks like a shoulder problem. Maybe winded one of the Darwin Hart's defenders. Fairly solid contact there on Leroy Shrestha.
Yeah, it really was. Under the shoulder and into the rib cage. A bit of a rattler. Players in the meantime enjoying the break.
I mentioned that Mikael Platt's been a little bit shy on goals. He's scored halves just 3 in 22 in NPL Victoria this season. So the fact he's still leading the line and still trusted to play. Yeah, not every striker, it's not always about the goals they score, but anyone who plays in the attacking third is still going to feel a little bit shortchanged by 3 in 22.
Yeah, well, that's your main currency, but as you say, striker, people in attacking parts of the field can bring other qualities without doing the direct goal scoring. So both things are true at the same time. But he's looked dangerous here tonight. I mean, a real handful. He's come close on a couple of occasions. The shot on the turn was particularly impressive. And let's hope, for the sake of Hume City and himself, that that's not the best he's got.
And so Niroi Shrestha is still talking to the trainer. Will that be the end of his night? Or no, I think all going by the jog there. He wants to get round to the fourth official and get waved back on. Darwin Hart's down to 10 players in the meantime, and Hume City looking to capitalise as a result. Platt with a bit of breathing room, but not on the same wavelength as Abdallah, and the offside flag was up in any case. So we tick into the 30th minute. Darwin Hart's in absolutely no hurry, while Shrestha waits for the go-ahead to come back onto the pitch. Long ball to restart off the chest of Prince. Now the ball is there to be won. Platt tucks it in for Bingham. He wants to work it out to Gilevsky. Gilevsky trying to stamp himself on the game, having come on for the injured Lloyd Isgrove. O'Kane. Neat pass through the left channel. It's Amir Abdallah, and it's a beautiful finish. Had he put it in the net, had he stayed on side. It really just almost died in the air off the boot. It looked promising, and then it lost all its velocity.
Well, Josh O'Kane with the first little bit of efficient wizardry in midfield, just carrying the ball nicely. It's a really clever little pass, splitting the defence. Couldn't beat the offside, and Amir Abdallah has been one of Hume's best to start this game as it is.
Just loaded up a little bit too much spin on the ball. It was spinning away from the target by the time the whistle went.
And there's that dangerous speed of Prince on the counter-attack. And you put that, next to the instinct of Sunil Shrestha and Sulav playing as a 10, who can slice a pass in the same vein as Hume City's O'Kane just showed us.
And so a second corner of the game. Lots of chat going on amongst the Darwin Harts players. Sulav Maski on delivery. Tumbling to the near post. Attempted a flick as an up and under. It hasn't gone out just yet. Platt hooks it away. Hooks it out for a Darwin Harts throw.
Well, the crowd's gathered in nicely. You see most of the seats are taken, if not all of them, and word on the street, when the gallery starts taking to their feet, the back of the seats, and of course behind the camera shot there's more seating on the opposite side of the ground. You're starting to get into the 2,000 through the turnstiles, which is a huge result if that's the case.
For those of you not familiar with the Darwin football scene, all the Premier League matches are played at this venue. Clubs have grounds that they train at, but many of them just don't have lights. So in order to play in the best possible weather and not in the heat of the day, this pitch gets a heap of traffic, heavily reliant on Larrakia Park. Tumbling ball to the edge of the box is cleared by Vuli Vuli.
It's a terrific model that they've worked to achieve at Football NT. CEO Bruce Tadler doing a wonderful job, but the centralised venue provides for a lot of efficiencies at club level.
Well, their headquarters are there at the ground as well, and they're in the market for government funding for a bit of an upgrade, because they do work out of suboptimal buildings. They'd love to take a page out of Victoria with the home of the Matildas, or South Australia with the State Football Centre, or WA with the new Sam Kerr football facility. So the refreshers are coming around the country. Yes. Maybe NT's next stop.
Well, one of their greats, Johnny Tambouris, He's now the TD for Football Northern Territory. He does provide a nice name after which a facility could be labelled. He of the horizontal header, and I've respectfully and humbly cleared the use of that title officially with the great John Tamburis last week. Lovely to see him, and important for locals that's one of their own is in that job as the TD and understands exactly what it takes from the NT to get to the top levels of football. We wish him all the best in his endeavours, and you can just imagine the amount of untapped talent up there for the game.
Flick header on here is a little bit too quick for Prince, but he likes the endeavour. Well, Harps, you can only hope that in among the 2,000 fans at Larrakia Park tonight that Darwin's next Socceroo, Darwin's next Matilda, tonight's the night that lights the spark for them, watching a game like this in the Australia Cup. Yeah,
well, it has that potential, and we met a few of them last week. It was full of young families with young kids sporting the merchandise of their favourite club, whether it was by their choice or inherited by family law.
Hume almost in behind for a moment there, but Gilevsky not able to go on with it after he made ground to the ball, and he was denied by the Darwin Hearts defence. But Hume, we haven't really seen them pin Hearts back in their defensive third since about the 20-minute mark. It's been a far more balanced last 15 minutes or so. They want to turn the heat up in the last 10 minutes before half-time.
Yeah, it's been measured. I think that's a good description. Yeah. And they've learned they've got to be wary about Prince on the counter-attack and this sort of opportunity.
And now this could be Sunil Shrestha away. Down the righty benches, Sunil Shrestha, and he crosses it to Prince. Prince lost himself in the air. It hit his standing leg. What a chance. And the crowd, they groan. They can't believe it. That was Darwin Hart's opportunity to take the lead.
Beautiful play. Lovely splitting defence there. Splitting pass there, and Sunil down the right. He lost his marker, who stumbled himself, and Prince just overran the ball. Or probably better to say, in fairness to Prince, that the pass was under-hit, misdirected slightly. What an amazing chance for Darwin Hearts.
Well, he swung his right foot at the ball, and unfortunately for Prince, it hit his left instead.
But as the ball was floating over, you really just visualising him having to run into it. But quite clearly, as things had developed, that ball was slightly behind him, and it was a bit too much for him to manage. And that singular attack from Darwin Hearts is why Hume have learned to just be a little, perhaps conservative in trying to manage their way through this and take the emotion, which is very clearly in abundance at Larrakia Park tonight, on behalf and in support of the Darwin Hearts.
Big 10 minutes coming up before half-time. 29-degree weather. You just wonder, Hume City coming out of a Melbourne winter, how much it's going to punish. You heard the chanting a moment ago, Darwin Hearts. Doesn't matter what colour shirt people are wearing in the stands tonight. I think they all recognise the importance of the Northern Territory breaking this losing streak in the national round of 32. They want to finally see a win. Doesn't matter which club gets the honour. It's just that much more important for the entire territory. Really ambitious play from Shrestha to try and get out of his defensive half, but a kind deflection. Oh, they've had a bit of a miscommunication there, and it's squeaked away to avoid conceding a corner at the very last second. All's well that ends well for Minucci. Ojeng. Hume City very much on notice now about the attacking prowess of Darwin Hearts. As a deflected cross is going to set up for the header, and it's over the bar. Reared off the surface. Bingham slaps the turf in frustration, because where did that find the juice to somehow rise over the crossbar?
Yeah, well, after this amount of time now, it's their most clear effort on goal, clear sight of goal for Hume City, and has just usurped Prince's effort as the glaring chance of the half. So where Darwin Hearts might have taken the lead, perhaps should have taken the lead, I think you're going to certainly say. And that mantle is now the sole preserve of Josh Bingham.
Here goes Prince. Can he make amends within minutes? On a tight angle, he tried to square it. Now the follow-up is blocked away. It was Angel Giri who was waiting in the middle, but the ball never arrived. And the game is stretched. Can Hume slingshot end-to-end? Long ball uncorked here. Gulevsky has got his hands full with the defender, but he's able to show a clean pair of heels. And now drive a low cross in. That's a great slide challenge coming back from Magar. And look at the control here. That's absolutely brilliant. No risk of a high boot as well. Prince is away. Flag stays down. Prince, oh, the flag's gone up. The finish was lacking in any case. No sense of theatre from the assistant referee. But it wasn't in the back of the net regardless.
Beautiful surging play at a midfield again. And there's Prince through. And nearly the ricochet on the follow-through would have tested the heart rate of the Hume City supporters, but it bounced clear. And as Hume come forward, it's a wonderful read in defence. Carried with purpose, beautiful balance technique. Prince just can't time his run. His finish wasn't that great either. And it should be said, but I don't know, since we've been celebrating the new format of the Australia Cup the last 10 years or so, has the Darwin crowd at Larrakia Park ever felt like they've been that in it at this late, relatively late stage of a game?
Well, I'd have to go. I mean, they were leading. Hellenic were leading Western Sydney Wanderers back in 2019, but I'd have to go back and look at what minutes Wanderers came back to win that game. But in terms of just a general play, you know, this is starting to feel less and less like an upset and more like a contest.
Well, they can play individually. We made the very early reference that they're all very, very comfortable with the ball at their feet. They've all got a very good relationship with the ball.
And it was Susil Shah who, I mean, his leap to just stick a toe out and knock the ball to his advantage, it was right on the borderline of a high boot, but he did it so elegantly that I don't think any referee would ever penalise him for it. And that's what launched that counter-attack, which Prince straight offside from. Here's Salav Maski, the ball from deep in midfield. And even though Prince was onside that time, goalkeeper out of his line in short order. Last 5 minutes of what has been a fun first half. Will it have a goal as well?
That surge from Sushil to launch that last attack reminded me most definitely of a Korean international, played for Marconi, Pan Kim Kyum in the old NSL. It just bore an incredible likeness, and to be able to make that comparison speaks volumes for the Darwin Hearts captain. That was a beautiful bit of play.
Deflection won't knock Amir Abdallah off course here. And Minucci had to go feet first and save it away. Had a couple of Hume City players waiting in the 6-yard box had there been a slip-up, but the ball doesn't find its way through. And even though there's been some hair-raising defending at times in this half, those flashpoint moments in the Darwin Hearts defence have become less frequent as this first half has worn on. And the Darwin Hearts chant starts up again. It's David Chick, the Hume City coach, hands the ball over here for this throw-in. Yep, there are the fans driving it all the way up to standing room only at the back of the pavilion. Midfield battle is going to spill kindly for Hume here. Gulevsky ran straight into a 1-on-2. Maskey trying to nibble at the ankles. O'Kane deflected shot, and it's cleared off the penalty spot. Ascroft O'Kane, ferocious slide challenge, won the ball, but then volunteered straight back to Harry Ashcroft, who's going to glide one over to the left this time. Great first touch and put over the bar. Mikael Platt did brilliantly to bring the ball under his control, but the finish was lacking.
Yeah, really nice touch, but no finish. And that's 3 now. He's had 3 good sights of goal. 1 header, 1 shot on the turn. This is a nice control. He gets a good sight at the goal, but just cannot hit the target. Darwin Hearts survive. I think the bulk of the chances going with Hume City, which is completely as per program. But what's been less expected has been the vibrancy of Darwin Hearts' belief and the technique to match to create some chances of their own.
Last minute of regulation in the first half then. A block and a chance at a counter. Immediately shut down by Ashcroft. Prince was trying to intersect the Hume City centre-backs on the end of that pass from Silwal. Hume down the other end. Amir Abdallah tried to knock it to his own advantage, but has to double back around. Ochieng. Abdallah. A deflected cross, it'll sit up. Is it a corner? Amir Abdallah's convinced. I think he's the only, well, me and him are the only 2. We heard the little clip on the way through, but the referee's decision is final and Darwin Hearts won't care. It's a goal kick. So we tick into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Just 2 additional minutes. 4th official Nasir Juman, a regular in the Norzone Premier up in Darwin, getting this opportunity on the national stage. Maskey snapping at the heels of Lockie Weir, but couldn't put him off. And now his brother Michael Weir has possession down on the last line of defence. Flick header on, Platt has Abdallah in the middle, but he's sent out towards the sideline by Shah. And now Sunil Shresh that came in to make it a 2-on-1. And they were able to dispossess the Englishman. And now an early ball, Prince go and chase. Weir's out of his line. Is it an awkward bounce? Not for Weir. Saw it calmly onto his head, even as the crowd rose. Oscar Carlson. And now Amir Abdallah. It would be such a gut punch for Hearts if Hume were to score now. Bingham's cross, hoping for Platt. And it is raked in by Josh Minucci. And he's going to take all the time he needs and now just go for distance. That is a super boot from Josh Minucci, right down to the edge of the attacking third, getting Darwin Hearts out of any semblance of danger. And, well, unless Hume really want to rush, they might be out of time at the end of this first half to do any more attacking. Can they go end to end in 15 seconds? Not a huge amount of urgency. O'Kane. Referee not looking at the watch just yet. They will get one more attack. Amir Abdallah as stoppage time expires, and it's held on the chest by Minucci. And that is the final act of what has been a fascinating first half. It has had everything but a goal, and this one is coming to the boil. Darwin Hearts, up to their necks in this one, will take one last look at that last chance of the half. And Minucci with a bit of a spin away as he was able to cling onto the ball and get Darwin Hearts to the break. Level in this cup tie. It's Darwin Hearts 0, Hume City 0. Welcome back to the Australia Cup coverage of this round of 32 tie. Darwin Hearts 0, Hume City 0 at half-time. This was one of the signature moments of the first half. Andy Harper, we both thought that was a penalty kick. There was a bit of bash and crash, but for the most part, this was a skillful game. A game very much teetering on the edge of an opening goal. And Darwin Hearts giving as good as they got, even though they come into this with the weight of history against the Northern Territory team in this competition, and also a bit of an underdog status of their own. Yeah,
it's a good summation, Teo. I think, look, the weight of chances have gone with Hume City, which I guess was to be expected, but on closer inspection, they've had one gilt-edged chance each team and haven't been able to take. And then what splits the difference, perhaps, is the penalty that wasn't given for the handball on Harry Ascroft, and looked clearly to be a handball. I mean, it's not dumping on the match officials. You see these things, you don't see them, we get on with it. But very clearly, that was a handball situation, and successfully taken would have given Darwin Hearts a great lead.
And that comes amid an array of chances to score. Hume City definitely started the stronger, but Mikael Platt, in addition to his shooting boots, he had other opportunities and looks at goal and chances which he wasn't able to take. But Darwin Hearts, when they got away on the break, this was Sunil Shrestha and our man Prince at the back post. Harps, well, this was the handball shout which we've touched upon, but yeah, when the chances came, Darwin Hearts, perhaps the moment got a little big for them.
Yeah, possibly, but you know, there was a great run from Sunil, and he's shown plenty in this match. Mikael Platt with his second effort on goal. Amir Abdallah from the set piece, I think, has been the pick of the Hume players so far this evening. He looks very, very lively. There's another chance, probably his most difficult. Mikael Platt, this is lovely work from O'Kane, sliding through midfield and then putting the ball through for Abdallah, who was adjudged to have been offside. The finish became a moot point anyway because he'd missed the target. But again, plenty of signs that Hume were going to break away, and then Darwin Hearts would pop up again, and this is their great chance outside of the penalty. But Prince just overrunning the ball, or the ball just under hit to Prince. Either way, it was a great chance that didn't materialise for them otherwise. And then I'll see you and I'll raise you, says Josh Bingham. This is a great moment of the game.
It's a razor-thin call. I mean, it was such a great run from Sushil Shah to both win the ball and then play Prince through. Beautiful.
And Prince has been repeatedly in that position. And so Hume will want to be warned. Mikael Platt knocking the ball away from the target. We had a great chance, and then Abdallah with a nice effort right on half-time.
Did the underlying numbers tell us anything that the eyes didn't? I mean, 2/3 possession for Hume. Darwin Hearts, that is the most threatening 0.04 XG you'll see, because they got far better value than the stats would suggest in terms of perception of, are they about to score?
Yes, well, I believe so. You know, that there are many grey areas that come together to attribute the XG, but a denied penalty obviously doesn't count in that calculation, because that should have surely sent 0.04 at least a little north.
So the numbers there. As far as what to expect in the second half, the Hume City bench, Umut Bozdogan, very experienced player. Otherwise, it's pretty young and inexperienced. Josh Kalevsky has already come on for the injured Lloyd Isgrove, who left at about the 23-minute mark. And it's a shame, because Isgrove, you know, won Cap Welsh International, former player in the Football League, and we won't see him for the rest of the night. Darwin Hearts under no pretensions about potentially playing for penalties, but they might have grander ambitions now, especially with this home crowd behind them, who have been full of voice and have created a great spectacle here in the Australia Cup. The Northern Territory team has never won in the round of 32. Are we about to witness history here tonight? Find out on the other side of this short break. Stay with us on 10 Play. Welcome back to live pictures from Larrakia Park, the Australia Cup round of 32. Scoreless at halftime, but not for a lack of trying, between Darwin Hearts and Hume City. It has been a thoroughly entertaining game. A bit of injury drama as well for Hume City. Lloyd Isgrove leaving the game injured in the 23rd minute. He was replaced by the number 10, Josh Gulevsky. So one of the main creative outlets for Hume on a night where their strikers, Mikael Platt and Josh Bingham, have been a little profligate in front of the target, not for a lack of trying, Hume. We've seen during the halftime break that Darwin Hearts XG has actually been scaled down from 0.04 to 0.03. So at least they can drive home. But Darwin Hearts, they are still creating, and they are still a threat on the counter-attack. Pacey players, they have just maybe needed a little bit of composure in front of the target. They're keeping Hume City waiting here. They are not even in the tunnel, let alone coming out of the tunnel. So Hume City have kept time. Darwin Hearts maybe getting one last rev up. Here they come out of the rooms, and they will have this home crowd behind them. I do wonder, you almost you put Chekhov's gun down on the table in the first half, Andy, asking, should we go to penalties straight on 90 minutes, or should we have extra time? And I just wonder if now we might have to contemplate that if we do get to the end of the 90, who's going to have the legs to go an extra 30 if we don't get a winner. With that said, Hume City will attack the left of your screens in this second half. Darwin Hearts will kick off and attack the right of your screens. There is their leading man, Sakir Esborn, known as Prince. And we restart the action with Darwin Hearts 0, Hume City 0.
Well, thoroughly enjoyable first half. But that's quite an inflation situation, cost of living, when your XG goes down after the half is finished. What are the what are the statisticians saying about your chances at that point? You haven't even been able to attack. Any rate, moot point, because Darwin Hearts have delivered plenty, and the stats have heavily backed Hume City, as have the expectations, and they've had some great opportunities to score. But I don't think Hume City would be ashamed to admit that Darwin Hearts have provided a very, very good opponent in this round of 32 match at Larrakia Park in Darwin.
And so how quickly will the fans find their voice? Hume would love nothing more than to silence them with an early goal. Their best spell of the game was, without doubt, the first 10 minutes. And then once, all it took really was one attack, one counter, just for Darwin Hearts to show what they were capable of, to show that there was an attacking threat in them. And Hume, I mean, they didn't overtly play more conservatively after that point, but it didn't feel like we were on an overwhelming procession towards a Hume goal after that point. Here's Fletcher McFarlane on the ball now. His fellow defender Harry Ashcroft is the primary distributor out from the centre of defence. This is Amir Abdallah, one of the standouts of the first half. Back pass, caught a few unexpected there, but Vuli was at least sharp to the danger and is spraying the ball out. There's a little bit of that at times. Darwin Hearts, the aid of a deflection is going to get them a goal kick in this instance, though. And Thomas Vuli has taken over goal kicks as the game has gone on, which is interesting because Minucci's certainly a bit of a super bird himself with the standard drop kick type formation. Hume probed through the left here. Josh O'Kane loses out, and now he's earnestly trying to win the ball back off Shushil Shah, who has done his reputation an amazing world of good in that first half.
Just outstanding play. All game so far, very assured, very strong, very composed, very complete technically.
And this is Yaru Silwal who slides the ball on. There's only two attackers on the go here for Darwin Hearts. Hume City definitely had the numbers back, and Macho Okit-Chieng was one of those numbers, and they quickly win possession. Mikael Platt. Hume with a similarly sparse attacking third. Amir Abdallah's got the confidence to take them on, though, and he had an unmarked man in the middle, but it runs out for a goal kick.
Yeah, the pass mishit at the end. Amir Abdallah was through. Turning inside nicely was the substitute Gulevsky, that, having done the hard work, couldn't deliver the pass. That would have been a great chance for Hume City.
Vuli sets himself under an awkward bounce and has a teammate there to scuff the ball up to halfway. Ashcroft, a hopeful ball. O'Kane, now Lockie Weir. Abdallah, a little head check before he turned and swung a dangerous ball, and Minucci, smart goalkeeping just to parry it out for a corner rather than into the path of any of the oncoming attacks.
Yeah, very much so. That was composed goalkeeping as well. He's looked a little relieved on a couple of occasions. Minucci, on this occasion, he took a couple of deep breaths, and his footwork along the line was good, and the decision to palm the ball away to safety was A1. But now to defend this set piece is the next challenge for Darwin Hearts.
Minucci, by no means the tallest keeper, and this is Hume, I believe, their first corner of the game. In swinger, right on the line. Minucci got two palms to it. It's not out of the penalty area just yet. Platt used his strength, twists across. It sits up for a volley, and it's cleared off the goal line. A big up and under, not away yet. Allowed to bounce. Players all around the ball. Bingham went for a header. A volley. Ashcroft, oh, it's wide. They just couldn't get it away, Darwin Hearts, and Hume let them off the hook.
Well, you have to admire this packed defence. Look at the focus in the Hume defenders. It's seriously in trouble at this point. A height advantage to Josh Bingham as this ball then bounces up. They couldn't quite get it clear. They thought it's going out. It's not going out. Keeper scrambling. Sentry posts all around the place, just smothering, hopefully like a fire blanket, any spark that the Hume attack might be able to find, and they defended it in the end as well as they needed to. Things opening up now, though, for Hume.
So you see the team list appearing on your screens in the graphic there. I mean, to put in context, Darwin Hearts getting this game to half-time. Last season, Hellenic made the national round of 32. They took on Inter Lions from the second tier in New South Wales, so not even a top-tier NPL team, and they got beaten 6-0. 2022, Hellenic again taking on Avondale of NPL Victoria, and they lost 6-0. And so this game, on a knife edge at scoreless in the second half. Go back to 2021. Casuarina played Lions FC of NPL Queensland. Need I tell you the score? 6-0. So the last three editions of the Australia Cup, the team from the Northern Territory has been bageled. And yet, we have a game tonight.
But you've kept the best till last, Teo, have you? How long it took the Wanderers to steamroll?
Yes, well, we will.
Is this the pregnant pause? Are you building the tension here?
We'll come to that. We might have 120 minutes to fill here, the way the game's going. Mind you, the wealth of attacking opportunity, it does feel like a goal could come at any moment. Lockie Weir, case in point, looking for the run of Bingham, and the defender, Shushil Shah. He's been everywhere. He comes through at the last second to put it behind for a corner.
Just a couple of questions being asked in the Darwin Hearts defence by the Darwin Hearts defenders. Just how long physically can they hold up? Technically, they've been great tonight. Emotion, invention, ideas, excellent. Hume have ridden whatever little storms have come their way, and maybe starting to see the signs of them taking over.
Corner to the far post. It clears all and sundry, and is out for a goal kick. Hume not able to make the most of a couple of corners in the first 10 minutes of the second half. 2019, so we are going back a while because obviously we missed a year due to COVID. Olympic of Darwin lost 3-0 in the round of 32 to Edgeworth of Northern New South Wales, and it was Western Sydney Wanderers 4, Hellenic 3, August 2018. So we're going back 6 years now. And the Western Sydney Wanderers found themselves in a 3. They were 2-0 down after 10 minutes. They were back level by the 55th. And then it was 3-3 after 73 minutes only for Rolly Bonavacia to win it 4-3 in stoppage time and prevent the game going to extra time.
Okay, so that is a bit of a benchmark. That's a significant benchmark. But I think, and not to take anything away from that great night for Hellenic, but given the context of the newness of Darwin Hearts, this is right up there so far.
Bingham balloons off his chest, uncharacteristic. And Silwal wins a free kick for his team. Well, it's worth remembering that Darwin Hearts were a second-tier team in Darwin in 2018. 6 years ago, they won promotion up to the top flight in the 2020 season, which went on through COVID. Northern Territory didn't go into lockdowns to the same extent as the southern states and the eastern states. And so their NPL continued on. Darwin Hearts in their inaugural top flight season. So a lot has happened for them in a very short time.
Yeah, it's a terrific story. But they're going to have to win this tonight, I think, to pip that effort against the Wanderers. But they're doing fantastic so far. Finding it increasingly difficult to get the ball with any sort of intention over their own half line now. Prince, the number 14 there, just dropping into the centre circle to defend, has not been able to threaten with one of those runs off the ball, in between defenders, in behind defenders, which was a feature of that first half.
Let's just spend... Oh, we've got a cramp here already. We mentioned it's 29 degrees at kickoff. So, what do Hume have to do in order to just sharpen up? They've got the strikers up top. Lloyd Grove not out there, but they've still got Abdallah and Galevsky creating on the wings. What is it that just gets them the breakthrough goal?
It's hard to make prescriptions, Taya, because one is my first port of call is what's the mental state of the players? Have they been caught by surprise? And if they've been caught by surprise, which would be completely understandable, because pleasantly I've been surprised by what Darwin Hearts have done. Very difficult to turn that mentality around. As much as you tell yourself, right, we're in a game here, let's start turning up the juice a little bit. It's easier said than done. So if you've entered the fray, not front of mind, but in back of mind, is expecting yourself to win, then realising you're up against a team that's here for the fight and they've got a little bit of quality to go with it, it's not easy just to flick the switch. But the first thing they have to do is seriously go through that individually and find some more energy. I don't think they've played necessarily with the energy that's required. I think they're going to last the game better than Darwin Hearts. But again, and this is no fault of the players, then that shift from the southeast Australian chill, and it has been a deep chill, up into the subtropical, tropical climes, even dry season as it is in Darwin, is a big shift with a difficult flight to get there. These factors all come into play, and Hume is showing a couple of those signs at the moment. Now, I think the expectation is that they will still overrun their opponents in time, but the longer Darwin Hearts can hang out, the bigger the story grows and the more engrossing the story becomes.
And I do wonder if that first cramp of the night actually being a player from the home team, not even before the hour mark, is indicative of just how hard Darwin Hearts have been made to work. As they withstand another cross through the penalty area here, little brush flick out to the left flank, and Sunil Shrestha has picked his moments when to impact the game tonight. Carlson, now Lockie Weir. He just loaded up and it catches a big deflection of Magar, and that takes it behind for a corner. We've got the Darwin Hearts still down to 10 players as well.
Yeah, and that not looking like that's going to change anytime soon. This is that body's looked like it's seizing up. Well, the lower parts of that body seizing up. Nice effort from Lockie Weir. He's got a very tidy left foot. He's been great so far for Darwin Hearts. Angel Giri. But it looks like his tank is now empty.
As the corner is batted down once, twice, third time of asking. eventually Josh Minucci is able to grasp it in.
He's been terrific. I mean, he doesn't cut the figure of your regular top-flight goalkeeper, not by any stretch. But he anticipates well, he reads the space well, he's brave. He's covered his line really nicely, and he's outgunned in a lot of senses. He's not tall. In fact, he's relatively dwarfed by a couple of the Hume players. Mikel Platt immediately comes to mind. Josh Bingham's a big lad too, but Bonucci's been super so far.
He might be called into action here. Platt didn't want to keep rolling, turns back out to the flank, and now the header is there for the goal. Golevsky at point-blank range. Hume City weren't missing there. And at the hour mark, they get their goal. The first half sub, Josh Golevsky, makes it Hume City 1, Darwin Hearts 0.
Yeah, nice run from Golevsky. The defending just clocked off that little bit. The ball dropped into that very difficult zone. And the aforementioned Josh Minucci, not sure whether to come. Rarely, his anticipation's been good so far. But this had that little curl on it from Abdullah nicely. And Golevsky, the big unit, just sneaks in at the back post and can't miss from there, and doesn't. And the resistance finally broken.
Well, it was a really simple goal in its construction and even simpler in its execution. Hume City have the lead, and maybe the effect of being down to 10 men for some time started to take its toll on Darwin Hearts there. Golevsky has 4 goals in 23 NPL Victoria appearances this season, so certainly not a rarity to see him pop up on the score sheet. And in terms of calming the nerves for Hume and throwing down the gauntlet to Darwin Hearts, that is a big settler here. The crowd try to find their voice. Foul here will allow them to escape out of their defence. The burning question now is, do they have another charge in them? It just feels as though Hume have started to outlast them here. Even at this early stage of the night, the intensity of playing at this tempo is starting to take its toll. Amir Abdallah wants a penalty. The referee does not agree. Vuli, he's turning back into trouble here, and then he goes for the back heel to try and escape the penalty area. Eventually the ball is out.
He is hard to move, Vuli, with a beautiful little back heel. Arrogant almost. And I thought there was a red-hot claim for a penalty there just quietly on Amir Abdallah. He's been good tonight, caught the eye. Starting to lose a bit of punch in the one-on-one, but keeps the ball in nicely. That's clearly a penalty. One waved away. Same penalty area, one for each team.
Is there a bit of chat over the sideline here for Lockie Weir, getting into a dialogue with one of the fans. He's a Queenslander. Weir, he played for the Melbourne Knights when he first moved down to Victoria. Since found his way to Hume City. There are the interested spectators that are chewing his ear off at the moment. And so another injury, another fallen player for Darwin Hearts. And I wonder, are we about to see a raft of substitutions just so they can get a bit of pep back in their step here? There's a look at the bench. They are yet to make a substitution, including Angel Giri, whose status in this game is still yet to be determined. Referee Rebecca Durkow trying to keep time, get the game back moving again.
Well, it's been a decent drinks break for both teams, unscheduled. That's a really lengthy stoppage.
And so the politics of giving the ball back is worked out, and now Minucci can get things back started again. Ball has lived down in Darwin Hart's defence for the last 10 minutes or so, though, and did lead to the only goal of the game so far in the 60th minute. Ashcroft. Ball plugs in the turf. Now Hume through the right. Bingham. And unmissable for Platt. 2-0 for Hume City, and Mikael Platt, after a wealth of opportunity, has his goal, and Hume are starting to pull away.
Yeah, just where they were able to block passes and gather in numbers to thwart Hume, and where Hume's finishing wasn't brilliant in the first half. This is a really nice cross from Josh Bingham, and not his first sighted goal, Mikael Platt, in this game, but his most telling. And it's a good header. Routine, maybe, but he still met it nicely. Put it beyond doubt, as surely this game is now. At 2-0 for Hume, and Darwin Hart finding it difficult to get out of their own half at the moment. They're redlining most of the players.
Well, it's alarming how collectively they hit the wall. That one cramp, it was indicative of what was about to happen across the entire team, which is almost like they've blown the gearbox and they just can't match whatever gear Hume City are playing in at the moment. Amir Abdallah dancing on the ball, trying to make it 3 in quick succession, only for Vuli to put it behind.
Yeah, so we've talked about the couple of the difficulties that the Hume players might have faced coming here, but clearly the biggest differential between both sets of players is the career status and the league status. The semi-pro players for Hume, some of whom probably are closer to full-time than part-time, depending on their personal circumstances.
Amir Abdallah's in-swinging corner. Vuli read it best in the air.
And more familiar with the high-intensity NPL level in Victoria, and players who've come out of the A-League. And other times when Hume players would have played A-League teams, say, and then at least had a taste of that sort of intensity. You couldn't probably say that's been the personal experience of many, if any, of the Darwin Hart players. So that step up is significant. It does take its toll, as we're clearly seeing, but that won't take away from the terrific first half they put on. It does seem a formality now, and Hume City will run away with this, you would imagine.
Angel Giri may have stayed on, but Nuroi Shrestha, the number 4, did make way, as we see a tumbling ball in and behind for yet another corner for Hume City. After not having too many or any in the first half, they have started to come thick and fast here in the second. The player subbed on, Surendra Buddhathoki, but Angel Giri, the number 15, has at least stayed on after that cramp. He's marking Oscar Carlson here, the number 22 from Hume, at this very set piece. Amir Abdallah, that one not his best delivery, but he'll get a second chance as the ball came straight back to him. Lifts it in this time. Important from Shah. Now he's cramping, and he's going to sit down, lie down, in fact, and play everyone on side here. I'm not sure Hume are going to show mercy. Ochieng. Platt. Hume players don't realise everyone can run on side here, and eventually Shah gets back up. And now from the left side, the ball is struck in with aplomb. 3 for Hume. That's the pick of them so far. And they are disappearing into the night sky on the back of Amir Abdallah's goal.
Well, he's been the pick of the crop tonight, as far as I'm concerned, Amir Abdallah. For Hume City, he's got a lovely left foot. He makes space for himself nicely, good trickery. And he's delivered into the penalty area with aplomb this evening, and now is delivered into the back of the net. Nicely found was Platt by Ochieng. Josh Bingham helps the ball out to the left-footed wizard from Hume City. He puts a bit on that as well. And 3-0 it becomes for Hume City. And whilst it could end up being an avalanche, in a lot of ways, Teo, Darwin Hart don't deserve that.
I think it's like, I mean, I know the Olympics are on right now, Harps. It's like the runner who in the 400 metres decides I'm going to run this at gold medal pace for the first 300. And if everything blows up for the last 100, I'll live with the consequences. And for 60 minutes, Darwin Hearts were a match for Hume City in this game, and they have now exploded spectacularly, conceding 3 goals in 8 minutes.
Yeah, and I know, you know, this is totally in the realms of speculation, obviously, but if the match officials correctly give a handball against Harry Ascroft, are they able to emotionally see out an entire cup match with 1-0? You still fancy that Hume would have ground them down, given what we're seeing now, but you never know. You know, the defending a lead and the hope that that gives you can access new reserves of energy. So, yeah, who's to know? But I think
they'll be desperate. They'll be desperate not to lose Susil Shah here. I know that they've already taken liberties with one cramp and the amount of time spent treating it, and Rebecca Decau is calling for the stretcher. But I think it's just reflective of maybe the drop off from Shah to whoever's on the bench is just not sustainable for this Darwin Hearts team.
Yeah, it's going to be a bridge too far for them. Yeah, you don't want this story. Well, I personally don't want this story, given what Darwin put on last week and what you saw in the local community, and the hunger for the game and the response of the kids, and they're so disconnected from a lot of what goes on in football, obviously by the geography of it all. And then to bounce out the wonderful story with this club, how new it is on the scene and how well they've done, and how entertaining they were in the first half. I mean, a Hume win to be expected, and that is a great story for them again to march on in the cup. But I would hate the story of this night to be an avalanche of goals against the home team, because the whole situation has been more enriching than that.
Well said, Harps. I guess the issue is that Hume City might have a bit of pent-up frustration that they are seeking to take out on Darwin Hearts here in the remaining 20 minutes.
Well, and they've got a job to do as well, and they've been very methodical. They'll be difficult, whoever draws them. They've got some quality. They lost their star, Welsh import, in the first half with an injury as yet unknown to us. So they lost a lot of firepower there. Their finishing hasn't been great tonight in general, but they're hitting their straps now against a team which is physically just falling apart. And then Hume will present a significant difficulty in the round of 16.
And we wait for a substitution seemingly to take place. Yes, Susil Shah's night, sadly, is over. He showed his great quality in the first half, but Jock Deng is the player that has come on as his replacement, and I believe it's going to be a double change here. We're just waiting for Angel Giri to also come off after he had his own battle with cramping. And it's going to be Jock Chol who comes on as well. So Jock Deng, the number 18, and Jock Chol, the number 6. Double change for Darwin Hearts. And now they must batten down lest they concede a larger score. Maybe fresh legs can just bring a bit more threat of a counter-attack goal to their play. Still have Maskey with the ball over the top. Prince still out there. I wonder if he'll be thinking about that chance in the first half that he missed the volley. It's the good news, if there is any, for Hume City playing on this warm night in Darwin, and also having the injury to Lloyd Isgrove, is that it is Doherty Cup final weekend in Melbourne this weekend, so the league actually has the entire weekend off for the cup final, so they won't be rushing back to play on Saturday or Sunday. And right now it looks as though they're going to get yet another corner. It's been the one significant statistical change between the first half and the second half. The corners are just coming with utter frequency.
Yeah, and the Doherty Cup is surely a trophy deep in the hearts of the Hume City faithful. It's the only senior trophy they've won.
So the most recent goal scorer, Amir Abdallah, to take this corner kick. High to the far post and in, almost direct. Not sure it got a glance. If it did, Fletcher McFarlane's the man who's going to claim it. he's not celebrating it wholeheartedly like it's definitely his, but the corner delivery made it another one, honing it on the target, and it's 4-0 to Hume City.
Well, plenty of curl and loop again on this corner from Amir Abdullah. And it is McFarlane who does get the tap in right on the line. Not even 3 defenders and goalkeeper can make an impression on the ball there. 4 now for Hume. Very productive second half, emphatic second half.
Well, if not for the delays for treating cramped players, it's 4 goals in 14 minutes, but in real game time, it's a lot closer to 4 goals in 9 or 10 minutes here in the mid stages of this second half, and a scoreline that perhaps, if you were looking at the form line and the history, you might have been more inclined to predict coming into tonight's game. It doesn't begin to tell the story. Galevsky, who got all the scoring started, tried to turn provider, and it's hooked away to the top of the penalty area. Hume not letting up. Ochieng. Bingham at the edge of the box. Platt denied possession. Ochieng redoubles his efforts with a burst of acceleration once, and then he can't quite skip by on the right side. It's dispossessed by Robin Shrestler. And now a foul will go Hume City's way.
Well, I think on the night of the Australia Cup draw, and don't quote me on this, but I think it was the Hume City players when interviewed.
We have a chance for Platt, who heads it over the bar.
On draw night, that one of the major attractions was to see if they could secure a team away from home and in a quote-unquote fun part of the country. If my recollection is correct, and it was a player from the Hume club that said that, then I can reliably inform the Hume faithful that of the 2 nights we were in Darwin, Tuesday was the livelier.
All right, well, that's for them to look forward to in 15 minutes plus stoppage time. And if they have ice baths and whatnot as a warm down. Waiting here for more substitutions to take place. Hume City are the ones who have taken a double change. And leaving the game, Oscar Carlson and the most recent goal scorer, Fletcher McFarlane, replaced by Carl Imanzi, the number 15, and Umut Bozdogan, the number 6. So double change for Hume goes through. David Chick emptying the bench, and looks as though he's called up 2 more subs for their final briefing in the not too distant future, as that is a tackle more suited to one of the rugby codes from Prince.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of him in the second half. He was quite prominent in the first. This reeked of tiredness in the end, clumsy and as well.
So Hume City, it's the 6th time they've been in the national rounds. We'll stay with this phase of play here. Abdallah can't chase it down. However, they have played Melbourne Victory twice, Melbourne City once, Central Coast Mariners once. They have never beaten an A-League team. Zip and 4 halves. Have you seen enough through 75 minutes here to suggest that if they do get an A-League team in the round of 16, they could loom as a banana skin and maybe finally tick that off, given how frequently they have at least made it to the national rounds?
Well, easy to say with this answer, that it depends on the opponents, but the conditions aren't going to be as difficult the next round of matches for them.
As we see Galevsky here, he fancies his chances, parried into the path of oncoming players, but Platt lost his footing at the key moment. It did set up tantalisingly for a potential tap in, and Hume through Ochieng haven't quite given up the ghost on this attack just yet. Abdallah lays it off, and O'Kane left the ball behind. A couple of slips in the penalty area. Darwin Hearts can't get out of jail though. Platt spins away, and it's a shot that goes wide.
But A-League teams, and a couple of them have struggled in this first night of round of 32 matches. And hard to get a read on where any survivors for the round of 16 will be and what sort of state they'll be in. But yeah, Hume have got a great home ground out there in Broadmeadow. I have done a cup game there, and it was a...
Sorry to be pedantic with the man with ties to Newcastle, Broadmeadows in Victoria.
Yes, plural. You got two of them. Or is there an apostrophe?
No, it's just Broadmeadows. Sub here for Hume. And the latest player to enter the game is Mehmet Uysal, or Uysal, I should say, as he comes on. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
No, I'm happy to be corrected on that.
Josh Bingham is put on ice after not being able to score tonight, but certainly playing a key role in that burst of 4 quick goals.
Yeah, so it's a great venue to defend, is what I'm saying. Hume City's home ground, and then they've got a team roster of players with great experience. On top of which, Amir Abdallah, on this evidence, is going to be a handful for any team in Australia to look after. And
it must be said, Michael Weir has not been tested really whatsoever tonight. It's more the defenders in front of him who've had the hair-raising moments. He's picked his moments when to come out and play sweeper-keeper, but I mean, he's fresh out of the A-League.
We know he's good enough to...
He's a good goalkeeper on penalty kicks too.
Indeed, a very good last line. So even if your team's under the pump, you know, you've got a good goalkeeper to shore things up at the back. So why wouldn't Hume fans think that they can have another deep run? Draw determines everything, of course, but they've done the job up here, and it was a bit sticky at times in the first half.
This ball flashes through, and it was nearly a goal on first touch for Uysal there as the ball flashed across the face. Galevsky with the cross that goes through the box.
He's been good off the bench. He scored his goal tonight, Galevsky. And at full stretch on the far post, Hume couldn't make it forward. Now, whilst we're going through the team sheets, I have to say that Thomas Vuli, the Fijian centre half, I mean, there's plenty of him. I've loved watching him play football. I mean, he does things very, shall I say, economically. But he's got a good read of the game. His touch is good. He's comfortable to try and dribble around players. Given the bulk, it's very difficult to shift off the ball. It's just been really fun watching him play. Unflappable. He's enjoyed the experience, by my estimation. He's really added to the whole occasion.
It's amazing the change of character that's come over the game in the last 20 minutes since the first goal. And well, all things considered, that is probably the best attacking chance that Darwin Hearts have had in the second half, and Weir was at the edge of his penalty area to collect. We're into the final 10 minutes. Hume have made another sub here as well. They've brought on Obiora Eze as we see another chance here, foiled by Minucci.
Quick off his line. Read that nicely and swooped well.
There is Thomas Vuli.
Just reckon he's loving it out there. And he's been very difficult to beat. In fact, I don't think Hume have particularly got the better of him yet in a one-on-one situation. I couldn't immediately recall that he's been individually culpable for any of the goals. He stopped a lot of the flow. He started a lot of the play.
Lockie Weir has still got his not necessarily fan club shouting at the ref, send him off there. So clearly he's made a few new friends up in Darwin tonight, but he'll get the last laugh given the scoreline. And Rebecca Durkow is not going to let that foul throw slide. You saw the leg flailing up. That was perhaps more the artistic gymnastics routine with the ball in hand.
You were kinder than I was starting. It looked to me like Elaine off Seinfeld, the dance scene.
Well, she might have been a good artistic gymnast as well, Harps. You never know.
Not on that evidence.
So, how much do Hume want to put the hammer down here? Mikael Platt has left the game. He got a goal tonight. And now it looks as though Galevsky's got another one. 5 for Hume, double for Galevsky. And it's write your own ticket on what the final score might be, because Darwin Hearts know they are beaten tonight.
Yeah, very difficult to turn and chase now as the energy levels have dipped considerably. Vuli couldn't make up the ground then in the centre of defence. Cutting in onto that left foot again is Amir Abdallah. It's a free header, uncontested. Unfortunately for Darwin Hearts, great stuff for Galevsky. Completes his brace. Convincing scoreline now for Hume. Distinctly probable that they're going to bag a few more from this point as well.
And so Gulevsky, who came on for Lloyd Isgrove in that first half, has made his case to be a starter for the home stretch, not just in the NPL Victoria season, but for who Hume get in that round of 16. Of course, Cup action continues tomorrow night. There's no let-up, really. We roll from these first 4 ties into the action tomorrow, in which there could be a couple of big cup set alerts, including Rockdale hosting the Newcastle Jets on the synthetic at a Linden. And then over in the west of Sydney, Blacktown City up against Adelaide United. And 2 teams that, in an A-League sense, first game of pre-season, anyone's vulnerable. But, you know, the youth of the squads, especially the relative maturity of Blacktown City, coached by Mark Crittenden with a heap of ex-A-League talent, a lot like this Hume City side. It's going to be a fun old night tomorrow as well, as I'm sure you've enjoyed across the 4 games that are taking place here tonight. And of course, Newcastle will have to set themselves for Alek Udashevsky, the one-time Sydney FC player who is fresh off winning the Golden Boot and the gold medal in NPL New South Wales and has simply resumed where he left off. He's now Rockdale's all-time top goal scorer in the league. And I'm sure he will be relishing the chance to shine on the Australia Cup stage tomorrow night. Ticking down to the last 5 minutes, a rare foray for Darwin Hearts. It comes to an end with a foul. And deep in their defence, Hume City can calm things down with the restart. So we've spoken at times about the untapped potential of the Darwin region, Harps. I guess sometimes it's baby steps and then it can happen quite quickly, but given your hands-on experience of the region over the last couple of weeks and then the culmination with tonight's game, any final thoughts on what you hope to see in the next 12 months before we check in on Darwin again for the Australia Cup in a year's time?
Well, hard for them to make an impression inside 12 months, but on a broader scale, Teo, it remains a mystery to me how few people live in that part of the world and how it hasn't been a project for Australia to do more with that great part of the country. I mean, it's in relative terms a minuscule population, and this is, in football terms now to be more specific, is a very difficult set of circumstances for them to navigate in dealing with the bigger population centres and big cities down in the south of the country. So 12 months it'll be it'll be improvement by degrees and finding programs that can encourage more kids, and particularly the first Australian communities up there just dripping with athletic talent.
It's funny you mentioned that the boys nationals were on recently. Northern Territory centre team only for the 15s, not for the under 16s, but I mean they finished 16 out of 16 teams, but they did score a few goals along the way. They only lost the 15th versus 16th playoff 3-2 to one of the Queensland teams. And speaking to John Dean, who was one of the coaching staff that travelled with the team, I mean, they were happy that they were just competitive. And, you know, you're facing Victoria, New South Wales Metro, South Australia with, you know, young guns like Almani Tatu, who's about to play in the A-League. And just to field a team and to be there for the Northern Territory is still pretty significant, and just keep a presence. Put it in context, you know, WA's under 15s went out in the group stage without scoring a goal, and Northern Territory at least got one. So, yeah, you know, it is baby steps.
I watched the NT 15s play a couple of games down there, and a couple of really tidy players, a young midfielder whose name I wasn't able to find, but really caught, here we go, no, it really caught the eye and could handle himself. And I did speak with people in Darwin about this youngster, and you know, he's hungry for football and plans trips to Europe to develop, and yeah, the rest of Australia is so far away from the Darwin community, and quite how you bridge that is not going to be fixed in 12 months, but that's why it's a bigger question for me. It just remains a mystery. The people up there love living there. Really, really great community, and so many natural wonders, of course. Anyway, we're getting on to way broader things, but a whole pile of talent up there that needs a chance to be connected to the game. And that was a big reason and kudos to Football Australia for having the A-League knockout matches, qualifying matches in Darwin, because when else is top-end football going to go to the top end?
Well, it's a watch this space. I'm sure that, you know, the prevalence of youth national teams, young Socceroos, Joeys, young Matildas, junior Matildas, those are the sort of things that host them, do it well, find the right venue. Larrakia Park's probably a good size for those sort of teams, but...
Well, the proximity to Asia, in particular Southeast Asia, it's screaming out for more to be made, and not just in a football sense now, I'm talking in general terms.
1 minute to go. It's probably a good time to pay tribute to Hume City. 2015, they made the semi-finals of the Australia Cup. They were the furthest progressing NPL team in just the second edition of the competition. 2016, round of 16 exit to Melbourne victory. 2017, the only time they've been out in the round of 32, and even then it was only on penalties to the Bentley Greens. 2019, the quarterfinals, they lost to the Central Coast Mariners. And most recently on this stage, 2021, they went out in the round of 16, only 1-0 to Melbourne City. Galevski's on a hat-trick, and he's going to win a corner here as Hume City take this game into stoppage time. But we've seen them in the pointy end of this tournament on many an occasion. Amazingly, really, for a team that's never actually won NPL Victoria, but they are a great cup team. They have at least the Doherty Cup in their trophy cabinet, and maybe this season they'll be dreaming of going on a run through finals and making the grand final. And they have again shown their great cup pedigree here. A 5-0 scoreline to their advantage. Is there a sixth in the offing? Abdallah drops it on the keeper's head, and it's in for a sixth that counts. Minucci protests on the line, and it looks as though the credit is going to Amir Abdallah for the ball in. Hume City up 6-0.
Well, two things have secured the win for Hume City tonight. The first is just the general status and strength of the team in relative terms. The second, and more telling, more specifically, is the left foot of Amir Abdallah. It's been brilliant tonight. That was too much for Josh Minucci in goal. Claims a foul. I couldn't really see one. He's been superb.
And now the scoreline is a perfect match for the last 3 occasions that the Northern Territory team has played in the round of 32. Sadly, it is a very familiar scoreline. It's going to be 4 consecutive years of the NT team losing 6-0 unless Hume score a 7th, which is not necessarily any better. In fact, it's literally not. As Darwin Hearts try to repel here. They thrilled us for an hour tonight, and this has been a memorable cup tie for a few different reasons. Not least because they at least, Darwin Hearts, whet the appetite for what might be possible. How many years away? We will have to wait and see, but it is Hume City's night well and truly. And even though we lost quite a bit of time to cramps and delays, the referee has decided that discretion is the better part of valor, and we're only going to play 3 additional minutes to close this one out. Eze, gaps aplenty, flag stays down, Galevski for his hat-trick, and he puts it wide. Well, it's a little fly in the ointment right at the end of the night.
Well, the Darwin Hearts defenders all stationary and asking for offside. It wasn't forthcoming. We won't get a better view of whether their judgment was correct or the assistant referees was right, but they've just completely ground to a halt, unfortunately for them.
Well, even 60 seconds is going to feel like a while here. They are crying out for the full-time whistle and for this one to come to a close. Hume City laying on 6 goals in 30 really ruthless minutes of football. Usul once, twice. Eze there with him as Hume hunt the ball. Usul again. And now through comes O'Kane. Weir, Eze, Hume knocking it about. No real let-up out there. Bozdogan, and he eventually is dispossessed. And that might just be enough to get Darwin Hearts to the full-time whistle. And as Hume duck into their defensive half. Stoppage time will expire. And Hume City, their 6th visit to the national rounds of the Australia Cup, ends in yet another win. What a fantastic record this club has on the national stage. They have come to Darwin, and after a few scares and a few great moments for Darwin Hearts, Hume City proved too good and really separated themselves in the end. 4 goals in 14 minutes broke the contest open, and it ended Darwin Hearts 0, Hume City 6. And so handshakes take place at full time. It's a result we'd known was coming more or less since the second goal hit the back of the net for 2-0 back in the 64th minute. But Andy Harper, we have been thoroughly entertained by the offering tonight.
Yeah, we have. No surprise with the ultimate score. Unfortunately, unless they put an asterisk next to the score in the history books, there won't be any other indication that the first half, the first hour of the match was really telling a wonderful story about a nascent club in Darwin Hearts emerging out of the Nepalese migrant community in Darwin and putting on a real show. Not dominating the football match, but having enough moments to really say that something might be achieved here. But Hume too strong, really, for the whole game. They couldn't finish their chances as they were emerging in the first half, but the second half, as their quality grew and Darwin Hearts' resistance crumbled, they were able to pick off to the tune of 6, which finished the scoreline. It was a great night of cup football for a whole pile of different reasons. Late and last-minute tension not being one of them.
And Amir Abdallah, I mean, not to preempt you, but would he be your man of the match if you had to pick one?
He's the key for me, takeaway. I think Hume are going to be very difficult to beat. They've got a great history, as you've said, in this tournament, and they're in a good position in the Victorian NPL, which shows, that they're a strong unit. They've got players with good CV and good experience. On tonight's evidence, they've got a potential match winner out on the flank. Lovely left foot, Amir Abdallah, and if he's able to set that as a consistent standard, then through this cup, opposing teams will really need to take notice.
So this is another look at Josh Golevsky, who finished with a double, should have left with a hat-trick, but that'll be something for him to work on at the next few training sessions. And then, well, this might have ended up going down as an own goal for Minucci. I mean, it's on target from Abdallah. The attacker there on the line, I don't think gets close to it. In fact, he doesn't. So it's either an own goal or Abdallah's goal. I don't want to be the Grinch. I'd give it to Amir Abdallah. And that is how it shook out at the end. The numbers, well, Darwin Hearts, they didn't add to their XG in the second half. Well, they added 0.01.
It went up 0.01 and they didn't get into their opponent's half. So you explain that one to me.
Well, maybe it's rounding. Hume City, 4.45 tells its own story. 9 shots on target, 23 total, 60% possession, and 420 passes to 293. Tells the story of a team that came in from a higher league at a higher standard and were able to shake off their opponents after a very fun hour from the home side that had us all daring to dream that an upset might just be possible. Not to be. Let's take a look at the fixtures. What a card tomorrow. Brisbane City against Wanderers, Blacktown City against Adelaide United, Rockdale against Newcastle, and then an all-NPL clash between Perth Red Star and Lions. How many A-League teams will emerge from tomorrow? I reckon at least 1, maybe even 2. Could be a little shaky. That's what we love, though. The magic of the Cup, and it's all on 10 play. And at 7:30 tomorrow, and you even get the late start over in Perth just to stretch it out for an extra hour. All right, that's it from us, though. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage on 10 Play. On behalf of Andy Harper, my name's Teo Pellizzeri. A pleasure bringing you this one. Good night from us.
shenanigans!